And welcome back, All Sports West New York. My guest in studio, Steve Manson, the hockey man, of course, the publisher of West New York Hockey Magazine, and been covering hockey pretty much since Fred Flintstone laced up a set of skates. Steve,
They were double runners, by the way.
Well, yeah, and they skated on granite. I'm going back to an interview Monday morning I heard on WGR Radio. Mike Weber, defenseman for the Sabres, was talking about the possibility of Babcock joining the Sabres as the head coach and sang his praises up and down, which you said during the break is because he wants to stay on the team if Babcock should be the coach. But he made a comment that I want to talk to you about. Weber said it was time to bring back discipline and structure to the team. Right. I took that as a shot at Ted Nolan and the previous coaching staff. You may disagree. Yeah,
I don't think so. I think he was referring to Babcock, who is probably the most disciplined coach in hockey. I mean, he is very strong. He's considered in that way, and he sets up his own structure and everything. And most players that play for him, are a little bit scared. I won't say scared of him or whatever, but they sure love playing for him. And I didn't think it was the remark that Weber made was a shot at the previous coaching. I just think he says, that there'll be more structure and more discipline under Babcock, because I think Babcock brings more of that than any coach in hockey.
Why would Mike Babcock want to leave Detroit?
Well, because I think he's achieved just about everything. He's been there for a long time. Also, and again, these are all just reports, okay? He's making in the 1 point something area. He really feels it's time for head coaches to start getting a better salaries, and he is a free agent out there as of June 30th, and he's going to command a huge amount. I mean, originally I was hearing $3-4 million. Now I'm hearing possibility of $5 million. This morning it was a report out of Toronto that the Maple Leafs might even be willing to offer him $6 or $6.5
on Monday.
And so, I mean, there's all sorts of things going on. I'm quite sure money-wise, Buffalo will be in the ballpark with anybody in hockey. Again, I know he's got a strong relationship with Brendan Shanahan, who of course, Brendan Shanahan, who runs the Maple Leafs, and I'm sure they had a nice meeting and everything, but that situation up there is just terrible. I mean, they've got young players coming 5-6 years down the line, not like Buffalo, who've got them now. And Toronto's in a tough situation, plus the media market is just, I mean, as I told you, you can't even go to the coffee shop without 6 or 7 media guys following you around trying to get the latest scoop. That's a tough situation to get into, but Toronto does have one thing to offer that none of the other teams, and there's like 6 or 7 teams right now that are interested in Babcock. Reportedly, there's a possibility they offered him both the coach and GM job. That might be appealing to Mike Babcock. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and that was when this all first started. The word was that Babcock wanted to have control over player moves and be involved and that type of thing. Obviously, with Tim Murray here in Buffalo, that's not going to happen. Tim Murray.
I got to disagree with you right away.
Well, let me finish my point. Tim Murray obviously established he's not a communicator. Right. Didn't talk to Ted Nolan about player moves from Rochester, but he does have a relationship with Babcock that goes back to, what is it, Anaheim?
Anaheim, yeah.
Yeah, so they may know each other, but there's no way Tim Murray's stepping aside to let the coach of the team tell him how to make player personnel moves, in my opinion.
Well, in the situation in Detroit with Ken Holland, the general manager down there, Holland is a strong general manager. He made moves, but he always consulted Babcock. Mike Babcock was always in the room when moves were made. They did it as quote-unquote a partnership. Darcy Regier, Lindy Ruff had a bit of a partnership here. Yeah, the GM's in charge. But the fact is, if Mike Babcock had a meeting with the Pagulas over the weekend, I didn't hear about Tim Murray being there. Mike Babcock is a very strong individual. He's going to want to have certain, say in the playership. I think if the Pagulas feel that he's the guy they want in the future, Tim Murray will have to adapt.
Well, look, folks, and I get paid for my opinion too. My opinion is Terry Pegula wouldn't know if Mike Babcock was the right guy for this hockey team, because Terry Pegula has already established he's more of a fan. He didn't grow up playing hockey like saving the Knox family. He's a fan of the sport, loves the sport, loves the Buffalo Sabres. So if he does a meeting with Babcock without Tim Murray, who arranged that meeting?
I don't know. But again, you've got a lot of consultants working for Terry Pegula.
Yes, you do.
I mean,
yes, you do. That's my point.
So, you know, who knows where it came from? But let's look at the Bills situation. Didn't Terry Pegula go out and get Rex Ryan? Was that a Watley decision?
Whaley, Doug Whaley? Well, no, but I think Russ Brand and Doug Whaley were in the situation. They were obviously involved. That was chronicled.
Well,
they were all involved with the interviews.
I'm not saying that Tim Murray isn't going to be involved.
Right.
What I'm saying is if the Pegulas decide that Babcock's the guy they want, if the people, if you got 7 or 8 teams that are trying to get this guy,
right,
and everybody talks about him being the best coach in hockey. He's won the last 2 Olympics as coach of the Canadian team. And by the way, who was his assistant coach for those?
Lindy Ruff.
Lindy Ruff, okay? And I'm quite sure he's asked Lindy what it's all about in Buffalo. And
I'm sure Babcock has asked about what happened with Pat LaFontaine, too.
Absolutely. I mean, these are all things that have to come into consideration. And again, these are just reports. We're hearing reports from this radio station, this newspaper in Toronto, that, you know, yeah. And it's, you know, no one's held a press conference yet. Mike Babcock hasn't spoken to anybody yet. He's on this whirlwind tour now.
Well, let me ask you
Who knows where he is today?
Do you think Babcock met with the Pegulas?
Well, that's what the report is. Yeah, probably.
Your people telling you think that's true?
Well, I had one person that I know pretty well that confirmed the story, but again, no one saw him here. He didn't do any interviews. You know, it's just supposedly he's meeting with the Flyers. He's also having backdoor talks with both the Islanders and the Blues, even though they still have coaches. And there's a couple other teams that are very interested. And in fact, if Mike Babcock is out there, there might even be 2 or 3 teams that say, "Look, Mike, if you come coach our team, we'll get rid of the coach right now."
Oh, that's heartless. Heartless.
I know. Well,
sit right there, Steve.
hockey.
We're going to take a commercial break, and we come back. More with Steve Matz. We'll be talking Buffalo Sabres hockey right after this.